So how about you? How about you grab this for me and watch me for a second? Because I'm wound up. You know, I don't usually.
It worked. We getting influence on
Right?
you.
They got me wound up.
working.
You know, yesterday.
Robert has a fire in his belly.
Yesterday we had the Kenosha verdicts, right?
Oh, yes.
It's
yes.
a big deal,
yes.
right? And,
yeah.
and all these and all the protesters are just absolutely wound up. They're just wound up, you know.
Yeah.
And they don't know what to do. So we were a little bit worried that they're not going to do anything, so it's not a problem. But they're really whipped up. But you know, Kyle Rittenhouse got found not guilty in all the charges.
Yep.
Right?
Hallelujah.
But on all the charges.
God was working his miracles yesterday.
But I basically have a different opinion on the whole thing.
Yeah.
To me, this kid who was 17 years old had a gun, right? He was there to protect some property, and he got isolated. He was with a bunch of people that were with him, and when he was with other people, it worked out okay. He didn't have any real problem when he was with his buddies and stuff. But the problem was these bad guys were very, very over the top violent, and they were threatening this kid over and over and over again. And at some point or another, his buddies abandoned him, and he was by himself. He got separated off. He's by himself, and this is out where he doesn't know where his friends are. He's isolated, it's dark, and these guys are chasing him. These guys are doing stuff like with the skateboard and hitting him and stuff, and he's legitimately freaked out and scared. And that's where I really blame his friends.
But did they notice though that he had separated from them? How far away was he
what the hell's wrong with these people who let this 17-year-old kid get isolated by himself?
I mean, it might have just happened real fast too. He might have gone to put out a fire. Next thing you know, I mean, I don't know if they abandoned him. I just don't, you know.
I really put a lot of blame on these people who were friends of Kyle's, because we don't let people do that. It can be super, super dangerous when you get isolated like that. These Antifa, they train to screw with the cops. They train to make that cop believe it. They go right up into the face of these cops and they're screaming at them and they're trying to terrorize them and trying to scare them and stuff. And they're out there, a lot of these people from our local area were over there, they traveled over there. They're trying to whip up the crowds, trying to whip up violence and stuff in Kenosha just recently. And they're out there whipping up this violence. And they're also, that's the other people I put blame on. I put blame on the other team too, these Antifa, for not controlling their over-the-top crazy people. Because if you're at one of these protests that's supposed to be a peaceful protest, and you got all these violent people who are making all these threats and stuff, and you're doing all this violent stuff, and you're not controlling those kind of people, there's a lot of blame on your team too. I'll give credit to the other teams. You know, examples of where the community people show up, and they got one of these over-the-top people that's there. They'll actually have people that defend us from their own people because they see their own people as being a problem. There's a lot of examples of that. This one girl in particular, the one that was wearing the chaplain shirt, was really good about dealing with this one crazy guy that showed up at one of the events. And that I was worried about that event because that guy was nuts. That guy was nuts, and even the other team knew about it, you know. And it wasn't really a sanctioned event by the other team. They didn't have a lot of their regular leadership there. They were a lot of the rogues. And you know, the thing is when you have protests and stuff, and you've got people, and they're getting all these people whipped up. You look at what happened in Minneapolis, and they burned down the city here. They were out there whipping up the crowd, trying to cause trouble, and then look what you got. You know, eventually you wind up getting this absolute disaster, and the whole city gets burned down. So, all right, I'm off my fire, but basically I blame his friends a lot.
Yeah.
Because we never let people go by themselves. You know, when people get isolated by themselves and surrounded, you know, and there's no way for them to retreat. They can't even retreat. Can't get away. You know, there's nowhere to go. You know, it's dangerous. So.
And so Robert's kind of informed us of the